in a couple of months here in Tallahassee. What can be done to prevent this from happening again? Because the left won't stop. They're not going to stop.
No. No, fortunately, Amendment 3 and 4 failed. So we were able to drop our Amendment 4 lawsuit to invalidate the amendment that had not really met the signature threshold. They needed 891,000 Florida voters to validly sign these petitions to put it on the ballot. So we were able to dismiss the lawsuit and not have to go forward with it. But the investigative report, this thorough report from the Department of State, is going to be used in this next legislative session to do some critical reforms, because our Constitution is the most sacred part of our law. And if the Florida Constitution is being manipulated by out-of-state organizations that are being paid tens of millions of dollars to try to change our Constitution, and they're submitting forgeries. They're stealing the identities of Floridians to then amend our Constitution illegally. We have a big problem. So I think the legislature is going to really take a very close look at some things that could be done. And some of those things could be done with a proposed constitutional amendment from the legislature. That's one way. But there are other statutory things that could be done for security. And I think one thing the legislators should do is take these signature gathering companies completely out of the process. Right. What we ought to have is a system just like our mail ballots, where you request a petition and they mail it to you, just like a mail ballot request. The voter requests it, not some third party outside harassing people outside of a grocery store. And then the supervisor of elections will then send a petition to the voter. The voter signs and returns it. No third parties touch it. There's none of that opportunity for shenanigans and identity theft in the process. So that's something the legislature could do, and there are a number of others that will be looked at very closely.
Jason, you're doing that thing that the Democrats hate, and it's called common sense. They hate it. It's gross. No, it doesn't work because it never goes well for their initiatives. It's almost as if the truth is really not on their side. Mark my words, Jason, one day, if I'm ever governor, Lord willing, this is a long, long time if that ever happens, I will do whatever it takes to get rid of this constitutional amendment process, because it's important to stress how serious this is. If Amendment 4 and 3 pass, there is nothing we can do about it. Like, it's just put into our Constitution. Abortion up till birth is legal, and is nothing the lawmakers in Tallahassee can do because it's in the Constitution. It's a right. That's it.
Right. And it's something that people kind of miss when they're thinking about voting on these things. They think of it like, oh, it's direct democracy. We're going to vote on this. We're going straight, putting something straight into the law. But what you're actually doing, you're being manipulated by special interest groups to take away your right to self-government through your elected representatives, where we need to make incremental changes in the law each year. And you vote out your legislator if they make bad laws. But if you put this stuff in the Florida Constitution, we can never fix something if we end up regretting it after it's passed. So that's why we don't need to be putting substantive law in the Constitution. The Constitution should only be for what we call organic law, how the functions of government work. But don't put the kind of statutory law the legislature should be making into our Constitution.
Direct democracy. I hate when they say things like that. That's not what we are. We're a constitutional republic. Like you said, we elect people to represent us to then make those laws. There's a very, very important reason why our founders set us up that way back in the 1700s. And it honestly, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, both of those papers, I say, are the two most important documents that has ever been created by mankind. And again, there's a reason why our country has had so much success. It's because of the way that we legislate and have. And listen, I understand there's certain states that don't do well at it, but that's because they tend to be controlled by the opposition party. But here in Florida, things are going pretty great. I mean, it's exciting times. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out? We get like 2 minutes.
Well, we're just really excited about a lot of different cases we're working on right now for the state and for private companies. And maybe on your next show, I'll be able to talk some about the big victory that we had against Target. This was just recently a motion to dismiss filed by Target failed. And it has to do with them wrecking shareholder value when they did some really disgusting displays at the front of their stores. So we're going to move forward with that lawsuit on behalf of a shareholder that lost a lot of money. And these corporations need to get away from the radicalism and focus on making money for their customers. So that's one I look forward to talking to you more about as the case moves forward. That was a big victory just recently.
So you're going to get what you need from me over the weekend, and then we'll see you on Monday, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
You're very right. I hope these companies start to veer away. And it's not even like we're asking them to go over to the right. All we're doing is saying, hey, just be Target. Don't be weird.
Right. Be neutral and sell products and don't try to engage in this this social politicization of your retail store.
I never understand it. They must have really gotten, like, these big corporate companies must have really read the room wrong. And I hope a lot of them start waking up after this election and going, maybe we're not a big radical left country, and maybe we should just veer to the middle. I mean, especially what we're seeing with Zuckerberg, who just donated $1 million to Donald Trump's transition team. It's almost like he's like, oh, man, I bet on the wrong horse. I need to start making up for everything that I did wrong. That
is one of the most fascinating things I've seen this week.
All right, Jason Gonzalez, the greatest lawyer in the state of Florida, doing good things for the people of Florida. I hope we can have you on Monday. Shoot me a text. Let me know. As soon as you're able to talk about it, we'll get you back on, all right?
All right. Thanks, Brendan.
All righty. I appreciate the time. Whew. That's big news right there. Florida's Voice will obviously be following along with the session. Honestly, Florida's Voice is going to be your #1 news source when it comes to all things that are happening during session. And listen, session, that's the news the mainstream media doesn't talk about. That's important stuff that's going on in the state of Florida. Those are your actual bills and laws that are being moved that impact your life every single day. And when it comes to these fraudulent signatures that are being collected to get a radical left-wing George Soros funded law on your ballot, that's a big deal. And guess what? You probably haven't heard it anywhere else. This is probably the first time you're hearing about it. Probably the first time you ever heard of a guy like Jason Gonzalez. Well, he's someone that has done a lot of great work to defend Florida from this crazy stuff. So Florida's Voice will continue to monitor this story, and we'll keep you updated as it unfolds. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older-adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older-adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey everyone, I'm Brendan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew. He's got the day off today. I just want to thank all of our great affiliates across the state of Florida that are streaming our show, Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. I appreciate you very much from the bottom of my heart. And everyone that's listening, if you check out our website, flvoicenews.com, there you can always find the live stream of our show each and every day and past episodes as well. And lots of reports that we do in the Florida's Voice newsroom every single day. We got a lot of reporting that the mainstream media doesn't touch. So I encourage you to check out our website, flvoicenews.com. All right, moving on. This story I have honestly not paid too much attention to, but I find it super odd. And it reminds me of when we had those big China spy balloons over our nation, but it's the drones, all the drones. Hey, Big D, producer, behind the glass. I've been looking for a window to get you in. Come here, Drew. Derek.
I'm in.
All right. I hate calling you Big D. For those of you that don't know, me and Derek have been best friends for like over a decade, and Big D is the nickname Drew gave you, so I got to call you Derek. I just can't do it. It's Derek. All right, Derek.
Sounds weird, but I'll go along with it.
It is. I'm sorry if I just gave your alias out and now everyone knows your real names. Oh, anyways, Derek, what is going on with these drones? We're both former Long Islanders, and we got these drones that are over Long Island and New Jersey, and now we got this breaking news from CBS saying that one of the drones may have landed in Hillsborough Township in New Jersey, and there's a massive manhunt looking for them. What? Is it aliens?
I saw that one of them landed. I don't know if it crashed or landed, but there is a report that people are investigating it. And Drew and I were talking about this yesterday. I'm about to go out and buy a drone. I have one. It might not make it as far as where I need it to, but I'm about to fly my own and follow where one of these drones go back to and do some investigating myself.
I mean, it sounds like you got a breaking news story you're going to do for us on Florida's Voice, and I think you should do it. As your boss, I encourage you. Go ahead.
Live streaming from the drone. How about that?
I just don't get it. And, like, no one is saying anything. When the White House is asked about it, it's just, I don't know.
Well, the White House doesn't always tell us the truth, so we don't know if we can trust them.
So do you think it's...
So do you think it's a prank? Do you think it's a foreign entity? Do you think it's from a different country?
I think it's a prank. You remember when those big stone slabs would be found in the middle of the desert and people were like, aliens!
And then they suspiciously moved the next space?
I think that was totally someone just busting our balls. Like, that was totally a prank. I think this is... I wholeheartedly think this is a prank.
So no one's coming forward saying that it's them because...
Why would they? They're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Exactly what they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, speaking about trouble, it's because they're near the air bases, right?
But again, if this is a prank, this is a very, like... These pranksters are very determined because this has been going on for days, right? All week.
in multiple different locations and states now. Yeah, it used to be just the one spot.
It's like the tri-state area?
Oh, yeah, there's multiple states going on reporting it.
It's not aliens. Let's get that out. I know people are like, aliens. It's not aliens. They're drones. But I really hope it's just a prank. And if it is just a prank, that's kind of funny. You got the whole entire world probably talking about it. But I remember when they first started reporting it, it was like, oh, Iran has got a warship off the shore of Jersey. I'm like, what? No
yeah, that
way.
Was debunked right away. I remember hearing that clip.
There's no way. See, America's not like a nation you can just like invade because of where we're located physically on the
unless you're flying a big balloon across the entire states.
I wish I'm so annoyed that Donald Trump is not in office yet and we still got like a month left until that happens, because that guy, he would have shot him down. They'd be gone already. They'd be done. I don't know why Joe Biden
definitely not take
hasn't.
as long as Biden did. Correct.
Biden let this freaking balloon just float across the nation and for like a month.
It's unbelievable. I'm so happy January is coming.
Right around the corner. All right, we'll be back at the top of the hour.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with an offer that can help steer your retirement in the right direction. Look, we're going to navigate the turbulent waters of 24 with this financial uncertainties and shifting tides. Having expert guidance is more crucial than ever, and that's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. As Southwest Florida's certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings expert knowledge and insight. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, isn't just a guide. It's your navigational compass for mastering the financial seas. With decades of experience, Alfie has crafted a powerful roadmap to help you chart your course and make impactful waves in your retirement. Look, for a limited time, you can claim your free copy of this valuable guide. That's right, no cost. This book is more than just pages. It's your blueprint for a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. Don't let this opportunity drift by. Text book to 239-747-1080. That's book to 239-747-1080. Look, secure your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently navigate towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Cortec. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Cortec so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Cortec, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, you're listening to Florida's Voice. My name is Brendan Leslie. I'm the founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew today. We got another great hour on store for the show. As always, if you want to watch the show, you can go to our website or any of our social medias. The social medias handles are at FL Voice News. We stream the show live every day on there. If you want to catch up on past episodes, go to our website, flvoicenews.com. Click the banner at the top, and you will never miss another show ever again. Everyone listening on the road or wherever you may be, we appreciate you, and especially our affiliates that are airing our show across the state. All right, Derek, behind the glass, come join me again. We were just talking about these drones. And
can't join you if I never left.
And that's the beautiful part of our friendship for over 10 years. We never leave. Anyways, we're going to keep a tab. Maybe Nina can do this for me. Nina, we're going to do a little poll. We got like what, 5 or 6 more guests that are going to be joining us today on the show. I'm going to ask them what they think these drones are, because I'm very curious as to what this could be, because they've just been hovering over the tri-state area for like, I don't know, 4 days now, and no one seems to have any sort of answers. It's amazing. It's truly amazing how much money goes into the federal government, and we can't get an answer about these stupid drones. So Nina, I'll be sure to ask every guest that we have on what they think these drones are, and we're going to have those results at the end of the show next hour. So look forward to that. All right. So we got some more guests coming in. We got a couple more state senators that are going to be joining us to talk to us about the budget here in Florida. Because listen, Florida is the reason why Florida is able to do a lot of good things and move heaven and earth in times of crisis is because we managed the budget in a conservative fiscal manner, and we have quite the surplus in the budget. So that's a topic coming up. Next hour, we got Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson joining us to talk about all things Donald Trump. And then he is now a former chairman of the Duval County GOP, but he was one of the best GOP chairman in the state of Florida, and that is Dean Black. He'll be joining us as well, so I'm excited for that conversation. All right, Derek, as I've been calling you for 15 years, but Drew has dubbed D as D. That was a lot of rhyming. Did you hear about how Daniel Penny, did you hear about it? You were actually the one that told me about it. Daniel Penny, the guy that saved all those people on the subway, that is he got a non-guilty conviction for that. They were trying to get him for manslaughter in the subway that happened last year.
Sure did.
JD Vance has invited him to the Army-Navy game, and
it's incredible. He's going to get to meet Trump too.
He's going to be they're going to be all in Trump's private suite. Isn't that pretty cool?
That's actually pretty amazing. I mean, it's unfortunate that what had to happen happened in order to get the invite. It's not just a random invite, but it's great that they reached out to him. It's nice that he's acquitted, not guilty, and it'll be nice to see him as a free man.
It's pretty cool. I really hope he's got a really good opportunity to use his newfound fame for a lot of good. And I don't know if you've ever listened to some interviews with him. He's a smart kid. And
he's a very well-spoken kid.
Yeah.
I'll call him an adult. He's a very well-spoken adult.
I think he's only like 26, 27.
That's an adult.
I'm calling a 26-year-old a kid. Oh, man. We've gotten old here. Anyways, Daniel Penny, he's got a great opportunity in front of him to a really good opportunity in him to do a lot of good in this nation if he just continues that well-spoken manner and doesn't really fall into the hands of the people that really don't care about the message. They say they do, but they don't, and they really just care about the bottom dollar and the influence. So I hope he doesn't fall into those hands. Other news going on. Okay, this is not really up Drew's alley, but this is the Brett and Leslie show today, so we're going to talk about it. Let's do some sports, Drew. Or Derek. And the reason why I want to do some sports is because I'm going to tie it into why social media can just be so terrible. And that is Juan Soto, generational hitter, going over from leaving my New York Yankees to your New York Mets. Congratulations, by the way.
It's incredible.
I hate my life every single day. And
oh, don't say that. Come on.
It's until the Yankees do something else, I'm just very, very sad. But
you had one of the most amazing seasons without a World Series wins to watch.
That's right there. Full stop. No World Series. They suck. It's over. Anyways, I bring it up because Juan Soto, and I'm doing this to just warn everyone that's listening and watching. Don't follow big random influencers that don't care about anything other than the clicks, because after Juan Soto signed with the Mets, some loser just put out a post. He made a fake Photoshop of a news article that says that apparently Juan Soto left the Yankees because of their support for Donald Trump. and blah, blah, blah. And they made it this whole big thing that it never was. At the end of the day, Juan Soto left the New York Yankees because he got more money from the New York Mets. That's it.
Money.
But that tweet went absolutely viral, and I'm seeing other news sources sharing it. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Really? Are you really that dumb? You're really going to fall for that quickly? And I bet you Juan Soto probably voted for Donald Trump. What do you think?
I have no idea. I have no idea what he's like in his personal life. All I know is that when he steps up in that batter's box and he stares down the pitcher, I am very thankful I'm sitting behind my television at home and not throwing to that man at the plate.
All right, so I know our next guest is trying to call in. I'm texting him right now, sending him the number. Derek, I'm doing multiple jobs right now to get this guy on, and that is State Senator Jason Broder, who's going to be joining us in a second. I just sent him the call-in number, so he will get here. We're going to talk to him about the budget, and then following shortly after him is State Senator Nick DeSegli, who honestly, his district in Pinellas County just got rocked by those back-to-back hurricanes, so we're going to check in with him. He is also a former New Yorker, so I'm curious to get his take on not only Juan Soto, but these freaking drones. What is going on with these drones right now? So we're waiting on State Senator Jason Broder to call in. You got Big D behind the glass talking to me, Brendan Leslie, filling in for Drew today. This is Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. You can listen to our show live on our great affiliates across the state of Florida, or you can head over to our website or any of our social medias to watch the show live or catch up on past episodes. That's flvoicenews.com. All right, so with that being said, we officially have our next guest. He is fashionably late, but that's okay. He's still a great guy, and that is State Senator Jason Broder. How are we doing, Senator?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on. So let's talk budget. And I know when we say budget, it doesn't sound like a sexy topic, but it is a very important topic here in the state of Florida, because if it wasn't for the fact that you and your fellow Republican lawmakers in the state of Florida kept a conservatively fiscal budget, a balanced budget with a surplus, we wouldn't be able to see the great things that Florida is able to do in times of crisis when money is needed, and we don't have to leech on to the federal government for aid. So how do I even ask this question? What is it that you look to be doing with the budget next session?
Well, thanks for the question. You know, that's one of the the highlights of all of Florida governance is our budget. We have a balanced budget amendment in the state of Florida, which means every year we can only spend what we bring in. And thanks to incoming President Trump and Elon and Vivek, we've got this increased or a bigger focus on government efficiency now. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to highlight a lot of what has made Florida successful over the last couple of years. And if I sound like I'm out of breath, I've been loading up wood for a second here, and so forgive me. And what I look forward to is making sure we have a balanced budget again. One of the challenges we're going to have is that over the last, 2, 3, 4 years, we've gotten $10 billion out of the federal government because of COVID money, and the state has spent that. That money is no longer here. And so we're going to have to, in order to stay with our usual tenets, tighten our belts and spend a little bit less going forward. So we're going to make sure that what we're spending money on is stuff that we're getting returns for. What we don't want to do is continue to fund recurring projects that aren't getting us what we thought we were going to get. And so going forward, particularly as a chairman of a appropriations committee, we're going to make sure we fund all of those things that we're getting bang for our buck for, and not doing that for those projects for which they've been on autopilot for a couple of years and we forgot to check in on them. You know, during a couple different federal administrations, including the last one under President Biden, Florida had a higher bond rating than the U.S. government, meaning we were a less risky investment. We want to keep it that way with our fiscal conservatism.
You know, I've been talking to Senate President Ben Albritton a lot about the budget, and it reminded me of my conversations with him of something you just said. We want to make sure that these things that we've been just, giving money to every year still make sense for the taxpayer dollar, and that it's a good investment. It's easy for certain governments to kind of just forget some things that they're funding and just kind of blindly pass a budget and just continuously fund these initiatives that might not necessarily be doing the things that we thought they were doing when we first started giving it funding. That's something that, can you attest that you and Senator Ben Albritton, President Albritton, and others are really going to focus on to make sure that everything that we spend money on is efficient?
It is. One of the hazards we've had, the base reason why everything is unaffordable these days is inflation, which is caused by too much money chasing too few goods. The federal government does this thing called a continuing resolution where they just continue doing what they've been doing. And if that's printing cash, that's making all of the values of our savings account worth less than it was. Not worthless, but worth less. Your buying power has been diminished. And so what we want to do is go through with a fine-tooth comb and say, what are we getting for our dollar? We in the state of Florida don't have the ability to print money. We don't have our own treasury, but we do have the ability to take taxpayer dollars and make sure they're spent as efficiently as possible. And so that's what we're going to do is go through each line item to say, this might have been a good idea 4 or 5 years ago. Is it still a good idea today?
I don't know if you were listening, but I'll fill you in. We had Senator Jonathan Martin on in the previous hour, and we broke some major news about a law he's working on. I don't mean to just throw you under the bus here if you don't know or don't know about it, but he's filing a bill that is kind of following the lead of RFK Jr., and that is to ban certain toxic chemicals from our food here in the state of Florida. What's your take on everything RFK has been doing? And we've actually seen some initiatives at the local governments in the state of Florida. I think it was Winter Haven that banned fluoride in our water. What's your take on RFK Jr. and all the things that they want to do moving forward?
Well, a couple of different things on that. It's very exciting to see a renewed interest in public health. As somebody who has a degree in public health, I really like the questions that are being asked. As to the outcomes of them, I don't know exactly yet, but it's an interesting proposition. And RFK brings up the fact that, in our Fruit Loops, there's 77 ingredients or whatever, and in Canada, there's 9. Well, what else are we putting in our food? I don't want that stuff. And so, I really like the discussion. We know that from a public health standpoint, that the biggest medicine, the largest impact on our health that we do every day is what food we put in our mouth. Beyond any medicine, beyond anything, outside of accidents and emergent events, our long-term health care is most likely determined by what we put in our mouth food-wise every single day. So to have an increased focus on it is a very exciting thing.
I'm a big potato guy. I'm a big Irishman, love potatoes, all forms of potatoes. I don't think there's all potatoes matter, okay? But I love frozen French fries. I love air frying quick French fries with my steaks. I get very annoyed when I'm at the grocery stores, and you said, like, our Fruit Loops have 77 ingredients, but Canada's have 9. Probably the same with Europe. They probably only have, 9. I'll pick up, a popular name brand frozen French fry, and there's, 15 ingredients. Shouldn't it just be one ingredient? Yeah. Potatoes?
It would be. I'm not Clarence Birdseye. I don't understand the science behind flash freezing stuff, but at the same time, it would intuitively make sense that if something was vacuum sealed or packaged correctly, we could get it down to a couple of ingredients so that they were shelf stable at least for a little while. Maybe the advent of frozen foods that are good frozen forever was great, but maybe that's not such a good idea if we're worried about what kind of chemicals it takes to do that.
It's just mind-boggling to me, and it's so disappointing because, not only are Americans getting bogged down by all these unnecessary, unhealthy ingredients in their foods that they don't even realize they're putting into their bodies, but it's also really hard with Biden inflation to afford that organic whole food diet. I'm sure there's plenty of Americans that would love to just eat steak and grilled chicken and vegetables and fruit, but, it's really expensive to get that stuff with Biden inflation.
It is, and I think a lot of what is we're dealing with is a lot of food deserts, and so we want to, and I think you probably talked to President Albritton about this, our increased focus on making sure that we've got fresh produce available for everyone in all communities, particularly our rural communities, because if the only place you can get food anywhere is a convenience store, and part of what you are feeding your family is prepackaged stuff, and you don't have access to apples or cucumbers or celery or carrots, and maybe you've never prepared them before, and you need to be shown how it is that you get a whole zucchini broken down into usable vegetable. Those are things that should have a renewed importance, which is going to be something that, number one, decreases our need to fund Medicaid, because this is a taxpayer-funded healthcare system. And so if we have less health events, we have less health disease states, it's going to be less of a tax burden on all citizens. And second is that, more importantly, it's going to start extending lives. and good years, not just years, but good years. And so that's something I think this administration can focus on, is helping work hand in hand with the federal government to put a renewed emphasis on what is food is medicine and what do we need to do to make sure it's available for folks.
I just got this interesting news that came across the news desk here, thanks to the Florida's Voice newsroom, and I would love to get your opinion on something President Trump just said. So, by the way, you're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. I'm Brendan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew. We're speaking to State Senator Jason Broder about a litany of topics because there is so much to talk about these days, because Florida is just the epicenter of the political world these days. So we're so grateful that he's taking the time out of his day to speak with us. He was just unloading wood, like being a real dude and like doing real stuff just to talk to us today on the show. So President Trump announces that he's going to end daylight saving time changes. He says daylight saving time is inconvenient and very costly to our nation. Now, this is one of those subjects where, I mean, I don't really know too much about it, like the real reason why they did it. I think it has something to do with like farmers back in the day. But if I'm looking at it from a modern day common sense perspective, especially here in Florida, that kind of makes their money during the winter, it would make sense for us to have the normal time sun go down around 7. It would help us a lot. I'm curious, what's your opinion? Because this has been a hot topic of debate in Florida for a while now.
It would. So a little historical fun fact.
I knew you were going to be the guy to tell me.
Then State Representative Jeanette Nunez, when it was her bill to end daylight savings time. The way it has to work is the legislature has to pass the bill and send it to Congress. That was sent to Senator Rubio, and he's been working on it for a couple of years, and we finally got a little bit of traction this year. So I'm very excited to see that go through. I think, personally, I just hate that it gets dark early. I'm a native Floridian. I'd rather have the sun. I'd rather have the time shifted. So I think you're right. I think back in the day it was to help farmers and transportation and train, all kinds of stuff. But it's unnecessary in this day and age. So I'd be excited and looking to end it myself.
I feel like it's about time, right? It's about time. Arizona, I'm pretty sure Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. So it's really weird. So like Arizona will be like 2 hours behind half of the year and then 3 hours behind the other half of the year. That's confusing, right?
Correct. And it's silly. It's 2024. We don't need it.
Before I let you go, we've had a common theme here. Oh, I meant to, Derek, how did you not let me remember this to ask the senator? I said I'm going to poll all my guests for the rest of the show. Have you heard about these drones that are just hovering in the tri-state area?
I have not.
You haven't?
What is this?
Oh, we can tell, Jason. You are just a Florida man, just chopping wood and loading it on his truck, not even looking at X to find. You are
super focused on the district. That's it.
Oh man, good answer. Good. See, man, I'm jealous. I'm envious of you. Okay, so for like the last 4 wow, you really have been off the grid. I think this has been going on all week. There has been these drones, like 20 drones, just hovering above New Jersey, LaGuardia Airport, Long Island, and just no one knows what they are. At first, people were like, oh my goodness, it's Iran's drones, blah, blah, blah. That was debunked. Then the White House was asked about it, and of course, the DEI hire of the press comms lady, whatever her name is not going to have any answers. She's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just seeing planes. What? No, we're not. They're actual drones just hovering. So now people think it's an alien invasion. Right. And my poll is what do you think? Why do you think there's just 20 drones just sitting over major metro areas in the Northeast? What is that?
My initial reaction is kind of not really, I don't own a tinfoil hat. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but if it's not a big deal, then why don't these folks come forward? The fact that it's become a big deal and nobody's come forward means it is something nefarious. And so as an old Florida man myself, I just say shoot them out of the sky.
Hey, well, hold on. That's what happened here in Florida. Well, we need a pardon that guy. Did you see that guy that shot a Walmart drone here in Florida? He's like, he just openly was like, hey, sorry. Like, I didn't know what it was, and it was in my backyard, so I shot it.
I mean, if it's not going to be a big deal, just out yourself and say what it is, and then everybody's cool with it. But if it's, it's something that looks weird and silly, and people are worried about their liberty. They're worried about their safety. They're worried about their freedom. Yeah, I could see somebody getting a little squirrely and shooting one out of the sky.
I think the problem is now they're in restricted airspace. I believe they've gone to a Navy base in New Jersey, and like I said, the airports, obviously. So I think that's like could be a felony on a federal level. So maybe that's why they're not coming across. So my guess about these drones is that it's just a prank, a very long prank, drawn out prank by someone local in that area, just flying these drones. It's kind of like when that big like rectangle brick was put in the middle of the desert and everyone was like, aliens. I think this is the same type of thing. That's my guess. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. You know, when we finally figured out how crop circles were done, it was a bunch of Englishmen who were having a laugh on everybody. Everybody was like, oh, all right, I see.
All right, Nina, Mark, State Senator Jason Brodeur for a prank. We got like 5 other guests we're gonna ask, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this here on Florida's Voice. We might even send Derek out to send a drone to follow those drones out. So, alrighty, I appreciate your time. You can get back to being a Florida man and chopping wood. We'll be over here talking about the news. We appreciate your time. We'll have you on again soon.
You got it. Thanks much. We'll see you soon.
Alrighty, thanks. We'll see you soon. All right, so you hear that? You hear that, Derek? We got one for prank. Did you think it was just a prank? What did you think it was?
I didn't think it was, but now I think it is. And I think that it's been going on for so long, they don't want to come forward because they're going to want to call themselves the greatest prankster of all time.
Why is the government just letting them, why is Biden just letting them fly? You know what I mean?
How hard is it as the United States government and to have the intelligence that we have to find out where these drones land? They can't stay in the air forever. Have one of our drones fly over it, follow it to where it lands, and investigate. It's not that hard. We're the United States of America.
Hey, Derek, I'm just saying, if it doesn't work out with Pete Hegseth for DOD, maybe you got a future there. I'm just saying.
Hit me up, Donald Trump.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flip De Niro. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on, and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with a game-changing offer for those ready to master their retirement journey. Look, we're going to navigate unpredictable waters in 24, an election year marked by financial uncertainty. It's crucial. You've got to have expert guidance. That's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. The Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, Alfie brings unparalleled experience and insight to the table. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, it's not just a guide. It's your strategic compass for navigating the financial seas with confidence. Look, with decades of experience, Alfie has created a powerful roadmap. It'll help you chart your course and make meaningful waves in your retirement. And for a limited time, you can get your hands on this book free. That's right, no cost. The book is more than just a collection of stories. It's a blueprint for achieving a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. So don't miss out. Text book to 239-747-1080 right now. It's book to 239-747-1080 and claim your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently steer towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey everyone, my name is Brendan Leslie, founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew Steele today. He's got the day off, a well-deserved long weekend for the mighty voice of Florida, so we appreciate everything Drew does here. It is 4:35, so that means it is top of the news with the news director, Anita Padilla.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines.
Now. Hey there, Brendan. Here's what's happening right now. Remember that ballot issue in Florida where Floridians voted to amend the state's constitution for the right to hunt and fish? Well, now the Florida Wildlife Commission is moving forward with plans for a potential bear hunt following the approval of Amendment 2. The commission voted to begin planning for a hunt despite opposition from animal rights groups. Amendment 2, approved by the voters, allows the state to conduct a limited bear hunt in order to control the bear population and reduce human-bear conflict conflicts. Of course, there are opponents who criticize the plan, calling it cruel and inhumane, but supporters say it's necessary to keep the bears from encountering humans, which can be very dangerous. The commission is expected to release more details in the coming months, so stay with us for more updates on this developing story. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis among 3 governors honored with the National Pro-Life Recognition Award for his role in defeating a pro-abortion ballot amendment during November's general election. Now, this is an award from the Priest for Life. It's going to be presented to him in January at the Memorial for the Preborn and their mothers and fathers. Also receiving awards will be South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem and Nebraska Governor Jim Pellin. DeSantis, of course, ran a very successful campaign against Amendment 4 in the weeks leading up to the election. That ballot measure failed to get the 60% voter approval that it needed to pass in order to amend the state's constitution. Hey, over in Flagler County, the fire rescue there has got a therapy dog named Taco, and this is a dog that will help the community and some first responders deal with some of the very traumatic situations that they see out there. The dog's going to be on site during emergency calls, also visiting local schools and doing community events. The addition of Taco to the team comes as part of a growing effort to provide mental health support to the first responders who, because of their job, they get into some of these really emotionally charged situations. Taco's picture is on our website if you want to go check out the pooch. All right, that's it for now. Be sure to check out some of the other stories we're covering for you here at Florida's Voice, like the University of Florida approving a new campus site in Jacksonville, and this is going to expand graduate and research programs. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director here at Florida's Voice. Brendan, back over to you.
Alrighty, Anita, we appreciate everything you do. Hey, if you want to catch those stories and more, head over to our website, flvoicenews.com. There, I promise you, it's going to be the reporting that you will never see in the mainstream media, because we're the only conservative news outlet across the state that actually tells you the truth. So head on over there to check out all those reports and so much more. And make sure you click that subscribe button and enter your email when you click that button, because then you'll never miss another report and get those daily headlines sent to your inbox each and every day. Alrighty, so we are going to be joined by our next guest, and that is a local author here in the state of Florida that is doing some pretty amazing stuff, and I was very interested to hear more about her story, and that is Amanda Elizabeth. She writes children's books for Raise Right Books LLC, which you can go to their website, which is raiserightbooks.org. Honestly, you might have seen her at a local farmer's market selling some of her books. That's how I learned about her. So I was curious to hear more about her story. And I'm always fascinated about people that are looking to, educate children in the right way. Haha, pun intended. Yeah. And not the wrong way, which is on the left. All right. So first of all, just tell us about who you are and why you decided to start writing these books.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name's Amanda Elizabeth. That's my pen name. I'm the owner of Raise Right Books, and I write all of the books. Basically, our mission here and why we started is because we were looking for books for my friend who was having her first baby, and we wanted some conservative books. And turns out there really is not much out there.
Wow.
In terms of conservative children's books.
I am just shocked.
I've been a nanny and homeschool teacher, nanny for 10 plus years, and then homeschool teacher on and off, like as COVID hit. I started doing that on the side. And there was just really nothing that could teach in the way I wanted to teach. And the way that I do it is I like to link a lesson plan with a book. So a book is always an amazing introduction to any sort of topic, and it captures children's attention, and you're just really able to get through to them with a book, able to have them sit down and really grasp a concept. So I started thinking, maybe I'll just write them myself. And there are other companies out there as well. Brave Books is doing amazing things. Obviously, we have some one-off books like Matt Walsh's book.
A fantastic book, might I say.
Yeah, exactly. So we have some books out there, but not enough, I don't think, to have representation of conservative voices. So that's really what we are trying to do. So right now we have 3 titles, and they're really geared towards ages 2 to 7, I'd say, or 2 to 8, but anybody could read them. Adults will enjoy them as well. They're pretty funny. And they use metaphors to introduce these topics. So we call them gentle introductions. Right now we have Law and Order at the Border, The Value of Life, and the Second Amendment. So these books, if you didn't know that they were conservative, you might not ever know, because they are so simple. They're really easy to grasp for kids, and they don't only teach those values, they also teach, standing up for yourself and standing up for others and waiting your turn, and just different values like that everybody should have, that aren't typically, they're not just conservative, but they're very important. And I think they kind of go along with the whole conservative, the whole conservative mindset as well. So yeah, we have these 3 titles right now, and we're always working on new ones. But yeah, we've been loving it so far, and it's really fun to get to teach kids in a different way than I've been doing.
I admire your work because you remind me of a lot of like what I did here at Florida's Voice. It was like, I wanted more conservative news, like not just like a pundit spitting out their opinion, but actual real truth telling in the news world. Right. And it was like, there was nothing. I was like, all right, I'm just going to start it myself.
Yeah, I'll just do it.
I love your story. When did you start it? How long has it been?
We started developing the books, I'd say almost 2 years ago.
And you got 3 published books now.
Yeah, 3 published books now. We've been through, a few different publishers and just trying to find out what works best for us. We're going to be re-releasing on Amazon soon. Right now, we're just selling them on our website, but we're going to re-release to Amazon probably within the next 2 weeks, just to make it, it's prime shipping, make it nice and easy to get to everybody. It's also the largest book retailer in the world, so it'll be nice to have that kind of a platform. And we sell at the local farmers market on Pine Ridge Road every Sunday. So you can bring your kids there and meet us, and we have coloring books and prizes, all sorts of stuff for the kids. But
was there a moment where you saw something that was like, okay, I need to do something. I need to.
Yeah.
What was that moment?
ABCs.
It was the what? It was. Did you say the gay ABs?
The gay BCs.
The gay
yeah,
BCs.
That was a book that I saw.
Oh, it was an actual book.
It's a real book. Yeah.
Wow.
I was floating around Instagram, and I'm like, what is this? I mean, this is crazy. Not only that, but there's other books out there too. I'm sure you've probably seen them floating around. But
we've exposed a few, and books that have made their way into our school system here.
Oh yeah, even in like Florida libraries, which I was shocked about, in the schools, they have some of those books, and they're really graphic, very graphic, almost pornographic. I mean, they are. That's what they are. And the left defends them for whatever reason, but I wanted something that could counteract that, because there's not much out there. There's when we were looking for our friend that was having a baby, we could not find anything. We wanted specific Second Amendment, and there I think was one book on Amazon that looked pretty good, but we wanted something a little more like demure. A little more
I still haven't gotten over the gay BCs. That's an actual book. There is.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a real book.
There is some horrific reports that we've had to do at Florida's Voice of certain books that were being pushed in these bluer areas of Florida, and it's just you're completely right. They're pornographic. I mean, they are literally reenacting sexual acts in these books.
Yeah, for kids, and they're available in the library. It's really sick. So we would love to get our books into the schools too. That would be awesome. That's definitely a goal of ours.
I think we're gonna have to make a push over here at Florida's Voice. Got a couple lawmakers that follow our stuff.
That would be great. Even books that are older, that are not they're not like a liberal book per se, but the basis of them is like Rainbow Fish. Everybody knows that book. Rainbow Fish, if you don't know the book, is a fish that has sparkly scales. He's like a special.
My mom made me dress up like that in first grade.
Yeah.
That was my Halloween
exactly.
outfit.
Like, he looks amazing, and the fish is special, and another fish comes to him and says,
I'm special too.
Yeah, exactly. Says, I want one of your scales. And he's like, no, I'm not giving up my scales. Like, that's what makes him him, And then eventually throughout the book, he has to give up all of his scales. So he only has one left. And then everybody has a scale. Kind of communism.
Yeah, it sounds like, my mom made me dress up as a communist.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like socialism to me.
Yeah, it's like socialism. But, at the end, everybody has the same thing. and he's not special anymore. There's nothing about him that makes him him. And I think we need kids to embrace like what's unique about themselves and feel happy about it and not be, those kinds of books are damaging,
right,
in a way.
And there's just so few books, especially that are being produced for today for children, that are actually teaching them like good, valuable lessons on how to be a good person.
How to be a good human. Yeah, exactly. So in our books, along with what you will find, which is, traditional values, very subtle conservative messaging, patriotism, God, what's just as important is what you won't find, which is, woke ideologies, drag queens, pride flags. You're not going to find any of that in our book. So you could always feel safe knowing that your kid is going to get something awesome and they're going to grab for it. They rhyme. That's always huge for, teaching phonics just effortlessly, just from rhyming books. And books are kind of like a gateway to teaching your child about anything. So why not give them something that actually has some good values in it?
And I know a lot of you that are listening or watching this right now have the children that ask you each and every night, Mommy, Daddy, please, will you read me a book? Boom. You need a book? RaisedRightBooks.com. Head over there. That's where you're gonna find the right ones. .org. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
I was almost flawless in this segment. .org. RaisedRightBooks.org. So quickly, we got like 2 minutes. Can you give us a little hint of anything new books coming in the future?
Yeah, we definitely want to do a book about medical freedom. We're trying to figure out how that works with our, template that we have of the gentle kind of introductions. So we're working on that. I'm also working on curriculum that I have been, personally using. I created it myself over the years as being a nanny. I've always, had the educational aspect of things when I'm nannying. I like to do those kinds of activities. So having a curriculum that's not woke, that teaches patriotism, Montessori style. So it's hands-on activities. It's not just like worksheets. I've been, personally using it for a long time, but I'm finally formatting it in a nice, setup. So it's really easy to use. And eventually we'll have that for sale on our website, and I'll have a printout of it at the farmer's market. So anybody in the local area can come see it. And it'll be affordable because, yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? Thank you. See,
Yes.
I went to school. I know my manners.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? Can you do one about why red meat is awesome, and also another one about getting through the propaganda that is social media in the news world? I don't know how you do that in a kid's book, but if you could figure that out, I will buy the first 15 copies.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great suggestions. I'm going to write them down right after this.
The red meat one, I'm hell bent on that one, especially here in Florida. We banned the fake meat. And we were just talking we just broke major news on this show last hour, and Florida lawmakers are working on a bill to ban toxic, unnecessary chemicals and ingredients that are in our food, such as certain food dyes and seed oils. So very excited for that.
Funny something about that. I work with a little girl right now that's high functioning autistic.
That's the music. Quick, we got to get out. Actually, hold on. Stay there. Pause. Pause.
She's good.
Stay with us. We're going to come back after the break in like 3 minutes, okay? And we'll finish that.
Okay, perfect.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey everyone, this is Brennan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew. We're joined by Amanda Elizabeth, who is a local children's author, book author in the state of Florida, who is writing books with conservative values to teach children valuable lessons. We were just talking on the other side of the break about her books, which you can find at raisedrightbooks.org if you want to learn more about her books and maybe purchase a couple of those to support local small business. That would be great. But we were just talking about how my suggestion to her she's the expert, a real expert, not those fake experts in the media. Amanda, we got a couple minutes before we go to our last break here, but I suggested to her maybe we do a book about how red meat and the importance of agriculture and food to table would be a really good story. And she was telling us a quick story about something that I forgot.
Yes,
but continue.
very, very quick. So I work with a little girl right now that's high functioning autistic. She's been diagnosed, and I come into the house, the first time, and I look through their pantry. That's the first thing I do. I'm very passionate about our food, and fixing that issue. And I look through her cabinet, and everything is just food dye, food dye, food dye. Specifically, red 40 and yellow are very, very bad. So I suggested to the dad, I said, you should, get rid of all of this and see how she does. Because before, when I first met her, she was very spacey. She couldn't share a conversation. You'd say something to her and she'd say something unrelated, and just you couldn't really interact with her very well. And she was having a lot of trouble at school. We cut out all the food dyes, and she is like a different child.
Wow.
It affects amazing. A lot. Yeah, it really it blew me away because I've suggested this before to other parents, but they usually don't take my advice or they think it's just silly, like, oh, you're just, conspiracy theorist. But he really took my advice, and recently she was sick and he gave her medicine with Red 40 in it. He didn't realize it had it in it. She was having perfect days for 2.5 weeks at school, and then the days he gave her that medicine, she had horrible days at school. And she actually said to him, Daddy, that medicine you gave me this morning made my brain feel weird.
Whoa.
I know.
That's crazy.
It just it blew me away. Like the difference that you can visibly see and feel in her when she has food dye versus not is insane. So I would recommend everybody to, before, even the government fixes it, fix it yourself and get it out of your house. It's poisoning our children.
I don't mean to brag, but PETA has blocked me on all social medias because every single week, kind of a big deal. Because every single week I make my famous pan-seared steak and I tag them. And I still do it to this day, even though they have me blocked. And because the whole food diet is the way to go. And I hate, oh my goodness, I hate the demonization against red meat. Oh, it's going to give you a heart attack. Shut up. No, it's not.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works.
It's so frustrating. We were talking to the senator who's proposed this bill. He's like, you got Fruit Loops, for example. Here in America, have 70 ingredients. In Canada and Europe, they got 9 ingredients. And I always lose my mind when I'm trying to find a frozen French fry that's clean ingredients.
Oh, yes.
There's only one brand that I can find, and it's at Sprouts. And there's only one Sprouts in the Fort Myers area where we live. And when you look at these frozen French fries, they have 20 ingredients. I'm like, shouldn't it just be potatoes and maybe a little salt for preservation?
Maybe some tallow.
Hey, Donald Trump, get French fries, McDonald's to fry their fries in beef tallow again.
Make French fries healthy again.
I will be going to McDonald's the very next day if they can actually pull that off. And hey, before I forget, thanks, Derek, behind the glass, for letting me forget again. We're asking our guests, you know those big drones in New Jersey? Yeah. Is it aliens or a prank?
I think it's aliens.
It's a prank. You said it's aliens. Oh my goodness. All right, we got to go. It was nice having you.
Who knows? Thank you.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with an offer that can help steer your retirement in the right direction. Look, we're going to navigate the turbulent waters of 24 with this financial uncertainties and shifting tides. Having expert guidance is more crucial than ever, and that's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. As Southwest Florida's certified financial planner professional, Alfie brings expert knowledge and insight. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, isn't just a guide. It's your navigational compass for mastering the financial seas. With decades of experience, Alfie has crafted a powerful roadmap to help you chart your course and make impactful waves in your retirement. Look, for a limited time, you can claim your free copy of this valuable guide. That's right, no cost. This book is more than just pages. It's your blueprint for a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. Don't let this opportunity drift by. Text book to 239-747-1080. That's book to 239-747-1080. Look, secure your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently navigate towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
It's always a good day when you hear from TJ Meister from the Floor Meisters in Naples, 6281 Naples Boulevard, 239-596-4964. All right, let's see what's going on with TJ today. How are you, TJ?
I'm doing well, thank you, Drew. It's good to hear you on the radio.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it. All right, Floor Meisters, what do we got going on?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the West Coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
Why do people love Core-Tech so much?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
You got to call the Floor Meisters in Naples. What do you need? Tile, carpet, Core-Tech, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, 596-4964. Give them a call, 596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just got to hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Thank you for waking us all up out here. For all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hello, everyone. This is Brendan Leslie. Happy Friday. I'm the founder of Florida's Voice. I'm filling in for Drew today. Decided to give the guy a day off. He's earned it. He's been working super hard. Hasn't missed a show in months. We've been talking a lot about these weird drones that are just flying over the tri-state area. Big D, come on in. Come talk to us. That sounded terrible. Derek, hello. These drones are something, and we've been keeping a poll with all of our guests as to what they think is happening. And I think the tally is so far 2 have said it's a prank by somebody, and then our last guest, I think her vote was aliens.
Aliens. I'm gonna rule out aliens right away.
You know, who knows? I mean, the White House isn't going to tell us anything. I bet the White House knows exactly what they are. I meant to ask you that earlier when we were talking about it. Do you think the White House actually has no idea, or are they deliberately keeping it from us and lying to us about not knowing?
I don't trust them, so I could never make a decision on that. And actually, I want to break something right here. An hour ago, the Nassau County executive Bruce Blakeman, who was actually at the Madison Square Garden Trump rally, who was shouted out a few times by the president-elect, he put out an X an hour ago saying, "We are closely monitoring the drone situation in New Jersey, and we are in contact with our federal law enforcement partners. I'm calling on federal elected officials to come forward, be transparent, and tell the public exactly what is going on." End quote.
Things are happening.
Maybe so he thinks elected officials know the story and they're just not sharing it.
You know who might have an opinion on this?
I'm going to guess Wilton Simpson.
Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, who is joining us now on Florida's Voice Radio. First of all, Commissioner, how are you doing?
I am doing great, Brendan. And we're getting ready, obviously, for the holidays. We got a lot of crops in production right now around the state of Florida. We're having a lot of success with our rural and family lands, and so we've got a lot of things going on and a lot of positive things going on.
Before we get to some of those topics, firstly, have you heard about these drones? I mean, this has been a debate for the last 3 hours on the show.
Oh, the drones and the New Jersey drones?
Yes. What the hell are they? What do you think?
You know, here's the neat part. So, and I don't have inside information or inside baseball, obviously, with my position, but I have seen technology that can take these drones down very easily. And I know that the military has this type of technology. And the idea is that the federal government, under the Biden administration, and I would say that because you remember they let the air balloons, those large balloons, go all the way across our country. But by the time they decide, hey, well, maybe we should do something about this, let's go ahead and let the Chinese, get all the information they need before we shoot them down. And so I suspect that this either has something to do with a high level of our own military, the United States military, or it has a flavor of some sort of a spy situation. And the fact that they're not answering and they don't seem to know, either they are embarrassed of what they do know, or because it's a foreign apparatus, or it's our own product being, our own drones and things being used in tests in certain test case. And kind of what's amazing about that is that our federal government, especially under the Biden administration, but in my history, I'm 58 years old now, they tend to lie to us about things. And so I cannot imagine under any circumstance that our federal government and our federal agencies do not know what it is. I can imagine one of two things. They're either completely lying because it's us and they're doing things they don't want us to know about, what data we're collecting or what we're doing, or it is a foreign adversary and they are surveilling to see what type of technology and what they're doing. So I think it's either one of those two things, and we'll know soon. I mean, the American people are very inquisitive, and we're going to have a different president in about 20 days, about 30 days. And so we'll know in the near future, but we're going to find out something that's embarrassing.
That's the frustrating part about all this. It's like knocking on the door to Donald Trump's next administration. And if he was here, I mean, those things would have been shot down already. They'd be dust. So it's really frustrating.
No, they could take them down in 1 minute, in a New York minute. I mean, there's no question about that. They have technology to put them on the ground, for Christ's sake. And so that's not a thing. They're doing. And by the way, I mean, let's go back to, you said President Trump. Go back to the Russian hoax, go back to the lies, go back to lawfare, all the things that they have tried to do to that president and are going to be, President-elect Trump. There's no telling what they're doing right now with this thing. But again, President Trump will be back in office on the 20th, and I think we will get a full picture then.
So, speaking of President Trump, Wilton, like, you're one of those guys that just kind of goes under the radar, but you're low-key pretty cool in Florida politics. I mean, every other day I see you doing something cool. You're at Mar-a-Lago the other day with Lara Trump, the former co-chair of the RNC, and I don't know, maybe soon to be senator. I don't know. I digress. What was going on at Mar-a-Lago? You mean you're at Mar-a-Lago? You had a good fundraiser for J.D. Vance when they were running for president and vice president. I mean, what's going on? You're pretty cool, huh?
Well, we've been very blessed, Brendan, to be in the midst of a lot of the things that are going on, and President Trump has been very good to me through my career. He endorsed me 6 months before I got in the Commissioner of Agriculture's race, and a graceful phone call. And he's been very good to me and my family, and something I've been very proud of. It was an honor to work with him and J.D. Vance. By the way, J.D. Vance is a very intelligent man. And when I say very intelligent, I mean probably 150 or 60 IQ or more.
Right.
And very thoughtful and very personable and really just a good person. And I told him, I said, we kind of, after I read his book, we kind of have a similar background, of dysfunctional family. I mean, I was adopted when I was a kid, and I was blessed to be adopted and all those things. But I could tell he came up based on his childhood, he had a pretty rough life, but here he is in the American dream, about to be the vice president of the United States. So we were blessed to do an event at our farm, and what was really amazing about that, because I know he still talks about it some, is that, of course, our farm's in the middle of the countryside, and he's not used to, as vice president-elect, being in the middle of the countryside. So he was really impressed by that. And the Mar-a-Lago stuff, we go down there, once a month or so, and this last Friday when we were there, it was about big dog rescue. And Lori Simmons and her team was doing a big event there. Laura Trump, Pam Bondi, and others, the president, had just left to go to France. And but there was many of those folks there, and Judge Janine and others from Fox News were there. And so we were down there supporting Lori Simmons and Big Dog Rescue. Very important mission. Cage-free.
And they built
cage-free dog facility.
So the Big Dog Ranch Rescue built the largest cage-free, no-kill dog rescue in the United States, and that was, I guess, you guys were raising some money or an awareness for it at Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty cool.
They do an annual fundraiser there, and that was part of that fundraiser. And if you'll remember, when Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of the state of Florida, and hey, by the way, thank God she's about to be Attorney General of the United States.
How awesome is that?
When she, yeah, I mean, we're making D.C. Florida, right? We're making the United States Florida. But anyways, Pam's going to do a great job, and she's been a dear friend for 15, 20 years now. And but she was there, and that was one of her passions. When they would have meetings there in Tallahassee, cabinet meetings, she would bring in rescues to be adopted there, at the cabinet meetings. And so she was always been a very big supporter. She always had her own personal dog there with her. We were able to spend a lot of time together there while she was in Tallahassee, and I was in the Florida Senate, obviously. And but so this was very important to her. So she was there in support of Laura Trump. This is very important to her. I think the president, even commented on like, well, what are we doing for the dogs today? When he talks to Laura. And so this is very important to the Trump family. And Lori Simmons has done a tremendous job with that organization and saved tens of thousands of dogs on an annual basis from being euthanized.
That's just awesome. People always want to try to just report the gossip of, oh, what's going on at Mar-a-Lago? Oh, this person was at Mar-a-Lago. But hey, they're actually doing some really good things that, again, I've been preaching it on this show for the last couple hours. We just don't have real news in the state of Florida, and that's our goal here at Florida's Voice, is to always kind of tell that other story that never gets told. And look, the Trump family's doing some good work to help the largest dog rescue that is cage-free and no-kill, so that's awesome to hear. You had some... Now, kind of reverting back to Florida here for a second, you're the agriculture commissioner, obviously. This is Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. I'm Brendan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice, filling in for Drew. We're speaking with Florida Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, and recently he has made a big announcement, and that is more preservation of family farms through the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program. Can you tell us what that program is and where the land is that you are preserving and what it does to help Florida?
I would love to, Brendan. When I was Senate President, I made it a top priority of mine to codify in statute the wildlife corridor. For everybody listening, if you want to know what the wildlife corridor is to me, Google a map of the state of Florida at nighttime. You will see all the beautiful lights. Everywhere it's dark on that map is a wildlife corridor. It's where animals traverse the state. It's where our aquifer gets recharged, and it's where we grow your food. What the Rural and Family Lands Program does at the Department of Agriculture, and again, when I was Senate President, I put $300 million into that cause, the Rural and Family Lands. We go and buy development rights from farmers that want to sell them. It's a willing seller. We identify them. We're about to open the program up for anyone listening. I think December the 18th, we're opening the program up next week, and you'll be able to apply for Rural and Family Lands. And let me give you this is the good thing for the taxpayer, and this is amazing actually, but as a state, if we go in and buy your property, actually physically buy it and take possession of it, and let's say the average cost of that is $10,000 an acre around the state, under the Rural and Family Lands, we would normally be 40 to 50% of that number to buy the development rights. So in other words, it costs at least half as much to protect our way of life here. Number two, if I go buy your land as a state, I have to then go spend more money the following in perpetuity to manage and take care of your land because now we own it. Under Rural and Family Lands, the farmer maintains the ownership of the property, and they are bound by our agreement to take care of that farm using best management practices. Number three, if the farmer still owns the land, it stays on the local tax rolls. So they are still paying their local taxes for their first responders and education and all the things that local governments have to do. If the state of Florida buys your property, it comes off of those local tax rolls. And then, of course, it requires everyone else in the county to pay a higher rate to keep up with it. So the Rural and Family Lands, I think around 90% of all the properties that we buy the development rights from are within the wildlife corridor. And the wildlife corridor is something that this state, if we're going to be thriving 50 years from now or 100 years from now in our way of life, protecting our food supply, protecting our water supply, and allowing animals to traverse the state, we have got to have as much of that wildlife corridor as we can obtain. And so we've been working very hard my whole career on this in the Senate and now as the Commissioner of Agriculture. And we're very proud that after Tuesday's cabinet meeting, or Wednesday, we will have went from 60,000 acres protected when I took office 2 years ago to within 2 years, we'll almost be at 200,000 acres.
So essentially, this program
we're going to be very proud of.
So essentially, this program first of all, the farmers can kind of make a sale, but they also it ensures that this land is going to be farmed for the rest of its existence and not developed into another community and taking away from our food supply chain.
That's exactly right. And think about it like this. So if you work in a business or in most businesses, or you set up a major 401k or these investments that you have, what this allows farmers to do by selling us their development rights, what you said is 100% right, it guarantees in perpetuity that land will not be developed into housing or anything else. It will be agriculture. And number two of that, it allows the farmer to have additional capital to help their agriculture business, or it is a way that those farmers' families can use those resources for retirement benefits that most farmers do not have the ability to accumulate except through selling some of their property. In this case, they don't have to sell their property. They're selling those development rights. And anyone listening, I would say, think about it from a taxpayer advantage to get the benefits that we want for half the cost and no future going forward cost. That cost stays with the landowners and the farming families. And those, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation farmers, let's say that the next generation does not want to farm, but their grandparents or the parents sold the development rights through this rural and family lands. It's still their property. They still sell it. The difference is instead of selling it to a developer, they will sell it to another farming family.
Right. Because
that's what the land is deeded for. So in other words, it's going to be in farming, even if the younger generations decide not to do it and sell the property. And by the way, we've seen the value of properties where we bought development rights 20 years ago. The value of the property was $3,000 an acre. Today, some of those properties for farming land is selling for $20,000-$25,000 an acre.
Wow.
So just because you remove the development rights doesn't mean the property does not go up in value. It clearly stops the growth in those areas where we need to, for our food supply, water supply, and animals traversing the state. That's what it's meant for.
Something that I love that you and Florida leads on is talking about the food supply chain, especially here in Florida, because we kind of got a taste of what happens when we have issues with the food supply chain during COVID. And I mean, you were ahead of the committee that reopened the state and quick. Talk about why it's important that we protect that food supply chain.
Amen. Well, I'll say a couple of things. So you brought up when COVID had struck, and I think that was about March or April of 2020. The governor immediately appointed a task force, and I chaired part of that task force to make sure, because we were planning on opening the state of Florida back up within weeks, certainly not months, but weeks of the initial shutdown, so that our first responders could get prepared to be able to handle a pandemic-style operation. And of course, we know all the fake news that was going on at that time, but the state of Florida took a different approach by keeping our state open, by making sure that our children had in-school education, that farmers, by the way, think about a farmer. I was in the egg business at the time. The day that everyone shut down their businesses and were supposed to stay at home, we talk about our first responders. They could not take a day off. People had to have that attention. Hospital systems could not take a day off. And we define those folks as heroes because those were on the front lines of those things. Now think about all the farmers had to go to work the next day also. And the way that you know that is everybody that went to the grocery store, there were groceries there. So farmers did not miss one day of work, could not have missed one day of work, because if we had it would have gotten worse because we'd had no food in the grocery stores. Truckers had to go to work the next day, right? These trucking companies and truckers, these were the real frontline heroes of a big part of that era. And so I was very proud to be the Senate president during that era. We were very proud that we kept our state open, we kept our educational systems open, and it made us the free state of Florida. And I can think of the only downside of being so well done at that time was the fact that we went from 1,000 people a day moving here to probably 2,000 people a day moving here. State went from 19.5 million people to 23 million people in 4 years, or 4.5, 5 years. And so when you think about that, it really brought a lot of growth. And who blames anyone from coming to Florida?
Right.
When we have, by World News Report, the best education system here for the last 7 years in a row, higher education. We have the best infrastructure on our roads. We're spending $4 billion plus a year on our environment to restore the Everglades, our springs restoration around the state. We have a balanced budget. We have the best business climate anywhere in the country. So who would not want to come to Florida? And by the way, we have school choice, universal school choice for everyone in this state. The largest state with that.
And you guys, led by you, and I've been bragging about it on this show today, we banned processed, fake, lab-grown meat here in the state of Florida. I love it. It's my favorite thing.
We were the first state, and when you think about the most safe, affordable, abundant food anywhere in the world and protecting our supply chain, We were the first state in the country to ban synthetic meat, fake meat. We banned the sale of it, or you can't bring it in the state and you can't produce it here. So, and by doing that, it was not only to protect the supply chain, but we certainly are protecting our consumers. We're not 100% confident that our consumers would be safe consuming this product at this time. So that's part of our mission here, is to protect our consumers. But when you think of protecting our citizens, a few years ago, when you think about the fake meat, when that was a big one, our 4-H and FFA kids, last year in that same law, to make sure more of our children get exposed to agriculture, we said that if a child is in a 4-H or an FFA program, FFA is Future Farmers of America, that they get excused absences if they miss their school days to go to one of those programs. It is very important that we teach our children where their food actually comes from. They do come from the grocery stores. You can go to Publix and buy all you want, but it comes from a farm before it gets to Publix. And so we did a lot of things to protect those rights. As you know, Brendan, I know you've talked about them before. A few years ago, we were involved in protecting our Second Amendment rights by not allowing credit card companies or banks to track ammunition and gun purchases. We put a $10,000 a day fine on them if they do those things. Again, protecting our way of life, making sure we protect our Second Amendment, and that's part of this office's drive. My office on that issue, when I got elected 2 years ago, we had nearly 30,000 backlogged concealed weapon permits in our system that dated back, by the way, over the last 20 years. By this March, we will have cleared all 30,000 of them.
Wow.
In addition to it takes less than 10 days to get a concealed weapons permit from my office today if you apply fresh. But we're going to have every one of those 30,000 backlogs freed up. And so it's the things we're doing as a department that I'm very proud of. And all of the things that we're talking about here is either protecting our way of life for now, protecting our future with rural and family lands, protecting our waterways, protecting our supply chain. And we're very proud of all those things. I'm very proud of the leadership that the department has today. And I should give one shout out to Kathy Mears. She is the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Florida. And she does a tremendous job keeping track of all of the 20 different divisions that we have. And we're very proud of that.
Hey, Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson, I really appreciate the time and everything that you guys are doing at the Department for the State. We'll talk again soon.
Yep, thanks.
All right, we're gonna go. We'll be back in a few minutes with our last interview of the show.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you probably know this. I've had a music career, an EMI published songwriter in the past. I've had a top 20 Billboard hit and movie soundtracks. But I got my start right here in Southwest Florida at Soundcheck Studios with Jim Becker. I worked with Jim when he was producing big names like Castrol and Beck's Beer and other commercial clients from ABC, NBC, CBS. He's done it all. It doesn't make a difference what your musical style is. If you're talking about recording for bands or producing music, jingles, he does it all at Soundcheck Studios. Recently, he worked with RCA artist Doja Cat and also a Sony artist Flip De Niro. A lot of great artists have made their way through Soundcheck Studios. So if you want to make your brand memorable with a jingle or maybe a commercial you want to cut, or maybe it's a band, give Soundcheck Studios a call today. 239-340-0515. That's 239-340-0515 for Soundcheck Studios.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
Hey, you got this. Just breathe. Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Radical anti-hunting forces are working to ban fishing and hunting across the country. These extreme attacks on our heritage must be met. Thankfully, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting back as the nation's premier organization defending our rights to fish and hunt. This April, you can step into the arena with us and join our fight in Naples, Florida. Join us at the historic Ritz-Carlton Tiburon and hear from world-class speakers including Tucker Carlson. The annual event is the best place for conservationists, anglers, hunters, and all those who want to protect the outdoors to come together, build strategies to protect our rights, and expand opportunities in the future for generations to come. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. Visit IOTR.org to learn more about our organization and to sign up to see Tucker in April. You don't want to miss this event.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele with a game-changing offer for those ready to master their retirement journey. Look, we're going to navigate unpredictable waters in 24, an election year marked by financial uncertainty. It's crucial. You've got to have expert guidance. That's where my good friend Alfie Townsend comes in. The Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, Alfie brings unparalleled experience and insight to the table. His latest book, Making Waves in Retirement, it's not just a guide. It's your strategic compass for navigating the financial seas with confidence. Look, with decades of experience, Alfie has created a powerful roadmap. It'll help you chart your course and make meaningful waves in your retirement. And for a limited time, you can get your hands on this book free. That's right, no cost. The book is more than just a collection of stories. It's a blueprint for achieving a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. So don't miss out. Text book to 239-747-1080 right now. It's book to 239-747-1080 and claim your free copy today. Let's make 24 the year you confidently steer towards a brighter financial future. Text book to 239-747-1080.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey everyone, this is Brendan Leslie, the founder of Florida's Voice. I'm filling in for Drew Steele today. He has the day off, enjoying a nice long weekend, rightfully deserved. You are listening to Florida's Voice Radio, and we've been talking about a lot of different reporting and going on Florida's Voice. And if you want to check out those reports or check out our old shows or never miss another future show, you should just head over to our website, flvoicenews.com, where you can see all of that. The show is streaming live on all of our social medias every single day. The handles are at FL Voice News, so you can check us out there as well. All right, we're bringing in our final guest of the show today, and that is the former GOP chairman of Duval County, Dean Black, and he is also doing a lot more things in the future, and we've seen a lot of success in his county, so I wanted to get his take on all of that and what the future may have in store for him. Dean, how are we doing?
We're doing great. It's a great day to be in Florida.
You know, as long as I've known you, you've been the chairman of the GOP party in Duval County, one of the biggest counties in Florida. You guys have seen such an upswing in Republican registrations. I was I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised to see you go. Just tell us about, what kind of Republican revolution we've had in your county since you took over.
Well, it's all about hard work. And, wise leaders share the credit and shoulder the blame. And the credit goes to the great team that we've had these past 6 years. We've been out there in the streets doing the hard work of voter registration and relentlessly wearing away the Democrat voter registration advantage. There's work still to be done, but it's a vastly different electorate than it was 6 years ago. And I'm looking forward to the new team continuing that work.
This past election, a big reason why, the results were just across the board in this state for Donald Trump, just shot to the moon. But your county was a big reason why.
Well, that's right. Look, at the end of the day, the team that comes to the field with the biggest army wins, and all things being equal. And I'm looking forward to Chairman Barr and the members of his new administration, Secretary Dean and Vice Chair Russell, as well as Treasurer Burton, continuing the solid work that we've put together here. Over the past few years, we've managed to put together and then defend a supermajority on the city council in Jacksonville, a Republican supermajority in a major American city. That's very unusual. And then, starting 6 years ago, we began to focus on flipping what was a 6-1 liberal-dominated school board, and I'm proudest to say that we have successfully flipped that school board into a 5-2 genuinely conservative majority. A lot of great things have happened, a lot of great things in store.
Your resume can stack up against many. That's some things for you to be very proud of. So what's the future have in store for you?
Well, for me, I continue to work in the party. I'm the state committee man to the Republican Party of Florida for Duval County, along with my counterpart, Ginger Soud, who is state committee woman. And I'll be busy at the state level helping to share what we've learned in Duval County with other counties in Florida and across the country. I'll also be involved in fundraising and continuing to make sure that Florida remains a bastion of Republican conservatism and letting that serve as an example to the rest of the whole nation, because everyone watches what Florida does. We have become, in Florida, the hope of America. And with the Trump administration right now bringing numerous Floridians into the White House, what we're going to see is we're in the process of making America Florida.
It's my favorite saying, make America Florida. And on top of being a committee man for your county, you are also state representative here in the state of Florida. And we got lawmaking session coming up very shortly in a couple months. We've had some cool breaking news on some bills that are being filed, in the process of being filed. Any kind of insight you can give us, what you're excited to see happen in Tallahassee in a couple months?
Well, I'll say that with the new Speaker of the House, Representative Danny Perez, he is determined to give voice to the citizens of Florida through their elected representatives. And obviously, it's a conservative body. We did the most difficult thing in all of politics, which is not to achieve a supermajority, not to successfully defend a supermajority, but to actually grow a supermajority. And we've done that. And, you know, we were just speaking of the fact that Florida has become the hope of America. Well, that's because of a great governor. It's because of a great House of Representatives in this state and a great Florida Senate as well. And that deep bench that President Trump is mining for talent to take to Washington, well, we have to backfill that. And the party working together with elected officials all across the state help to make sure that we have good Republicans working up the chain of command, if you will, and filling those seats so that there are no openings created for Democrats. The people won't have it. And it's just, as I said at the beginning of this call, it's a great day to be in Florida.
How great is the new Speaker of the House, Danny Perez? I mean, he is a no BS type of guy, really resonates with a lot of the House members, your colleagues. I mean, so much so that after his swearing in as the Speaker, you see a Democrat, a House Democrat in the Tampa Bay area, flip her registration from Democrat to Republican, giving you guys one more seat added to your supermajority in the House. How cool is that?
Well, it's cool because Speaker Perez, together with his leadership team, recognized why we got a supermajority to begin with, and it's because of basic common sense, good ideas, and good governance, keeping government out of the way of the citizens, making sure that we're tackling problems like increasing costs, making sure that we're tackling increased housing costs, but also insurance costs, and making sure that we're not giving in to any of the radical left-wing ideas that have permeated other major states in America. And the citizens of Florida, thank God, they have common sense. They know good government when they see it, and they know right from wrong. So does the Florida House. So does Speaker Perez. And we're going to continue listening to the citizens in Florida, and we're going to keep doing the right thing.
It's just amazing. And I think that's what, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit about why she ended up switching that registration. I actually hope we can get her on the show next week at some point so we can hear more from her. But it was almost as if she could see that the Democrat Party as a whole is just moving further and further away from just the common everyday American and just doesn't care about their needs. It's almost as if they only really care about like a small percentage of the population.
Well, you've got a fringe element that has hijacked the Democrat Party. Let's be blunt. And those values do not represent Floridians' values. And after the presidential election and the decisive win in the popular vote that we saw, we can safely assume that those values don't represent the values of the American people either. And they're going to have to abandon these outrageous positions that they've taken. They don't seem to be willing to do that. They seem, in fact, to be doubling down and want to make that a hill they want to fight for and die upon politically. And if those are the arguments that they want to keep having, if they want to keep having losing arguments, well, we're welcome. We're pleased to have those arguments, and then we will vote on that over and over and over until we make America great again.
Representative, has anyone ever told you you have the perfect voice for like sports announcing?
No, but I must confess, I was in radio for a number of years, been quite some time. And I didn't do sports announcing, but I was a radio announcer. And you know, if 5 million other people agreed with you, well, I probably wouldn't be in the Florida House right now and be a cattle rancher and small businessman.
You are right where you belong. Derek, my producer Derek, he was like, man, this guy just sounds like he's made for radio. And boom, we just proved it right. Derek, right there. Good call there. That's great.
Well, I'd like to hope that people think that I say things not just well, but that I say things that are worth saying and worth fighting for. And
hey, you are exactly where you need to be.
Voice, it's time for everybody in Florida to double down, support good conservative governance. Let's show America and keep showing America how it's done. Let's keep being the hope of America. We get to inspire other states to look at what they're doing and change what they're doing. The change in America starts here.
They always say it. When Florida goes, so does the rest of the nation. So I'm really excited for that. And really quick, before I let you go, I've been polling all of my guests on the show. Have you heard about these drones that are flying over the tri-state area up in the Northeast?
I have heard about that, yes.
What would you say the reason is that they are flying? Would you say it's a prank? Would you say it's some government test? Would you say it's aliens or something else?
Well, I would say I'm in Florida. I don't see any drones here. And I'll concern myself with the affairs of Florida. And I encourage my colleagues to the north to figure out what the heck is going on. And once you know what's going on, deal with it. I don't know what's happening. It certainly is concerning, and they need to get to the bottom of it. But it's clear skies and smooth sailing in the free state of Florida.
Yeah, something tells me if those drones were flying over Florida, they wouldn't last too long. I don't know. I'm just saying. Alrighty. Representative.
I think we would get to the bottom of it. I think we would absolutely get to the bottom of it. We would be galvanized. You would see the governor absolutely focused on it like a laser beam, and we'd get an answer to the question pronto, and we would deal with it. And I hope that New Jersey and the areas up there get to the bottom of it there as well. They certainly need to.
Yep. Don't leave it in the hands of Joe Biden because he's asleep by 4 p.m. All righty. Representative Dean Black, I appreciate your time, and we'll be talking again soon. I'm sure of it.
All right. It's great to hear from you. And if I don't talk to you guys beforehand, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We say Merry Christmas on this show. Merry Christmas to you and everyone that is listening. All right. That's Representative Dean Black on his way out of here. Hope he has a great weekend. Derek, good call there on the announcing.
I knew it had to be. His voice is too good, too clear, too crisp to not be heard by hundreds of thousands of people.
It's a good voice. I always find myself like, and why I know it's a good voice is because every time I speak with him, and I've spoken with him many times over the years, is I'm always like just super engaged and listening. It's like someone's telling me a story. It's good.
Well, that's the thing. It sounds good on top of being good information. That you got two great things right there. Great guy.
What do you think the chances are Nina's going to join us in this conversation right now?
Very low.
Man, we're trying to get our other producer, Nina, to be a little bit more social.
We're about to hit a break anyway.
Well, we've been keeping this tally about the drones. What the hell is going on with the drones? What are these drones? And I've been saying it for the whole show. We're going to say at the end of the episode, what is the poll? I've asked each guest, and I believe the tally of what each guest believes these drones are. I believe the tally is 2 for pranks, 1 for aliens, 1 for military, and then Dean was an I don't know really. Is that correct?
Dean was a let's make America Florida answer. We got to put that in there.
Dean was, hey, bring those drones to Florida and we're going to shoot them down real fast, real quick. I wish someone would do something stupid like that around Florida, because real quick, Florida will set a precedent that we don't do that. No, we're not playing like that.
Well, you brought it up to one of our past guests that the Florida man took a weapon out and shot it down himself. It doesn't even take the government.
Did you? That guy was hilarious. Did you see the whole video?
I didn't watch the whole thing, no.
So it's this old man. He's got to be like 70 years old, just minding his own business. He was like doing some yard work, and this, I guess it was a Walmart drone, but he couldn't tell. It was a drone that just flew in his backyard. He shoot it down, and his response to the police officers when they were arresting him was perfect. And we're going to talk about it right after this break.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Today, I appreciate everyone tuning into the show for the last couple hours. We were just talking about these drones in New Jersey. I mean, we've been talking about it all show because I'm just fascinated that no one knows what the hell is going on. I find it amazing that we have been going on this long. Derek, we'll bring producer back in. Derek, in Florida, there was this guy like last week that was this old man just doing his yard work, and then all of a sudden a drone just flies into right above his backyard, and he shot it down. And he ended up getting arrested for it. And while he was getting arrested, he was he was a very, very, very kind man when he was getting arrested. And he had one of the funniest lines that you could ever say to a police officer while he's getting cuffed after shooting the drone down. And I believe Nina has the audio. Play it for a second.
Well, no, we have.
We've been fine. There's no issues. We're not,
Yeah.
Just let me know if it's too tight, all right?
Yeah.
Right. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
When in doubt, Derek. When in doubt, when you're getting arrested, just say, can't breathe. You'll get out of it.
You know, I only saw that video without the audio. And now it's twice as good.
We're allowed to laugh, right? That's funny. I think it's funny.
I already laughed. I can't take it back.
I thought it was great. I mean, what a sport. What a champ. I felt so bad. You see the whole police cam footage, and he's just like, yeah, I shot it down. What am I going to do? Lie to you? I guess I'm in trouble now. Yep, I guess you got to arrest me now. All right, here you go. Like, he was such a good sport about it. I really hope he gets out of it, because that's
the most subtle arrest of the year.
You know, to his defense, I mean, in Florida, we got stand your ground law. Like, what? Can you tell easily that this is just a Walmart drone? I mean, that's kind of scary when a drone is just flying right above your head. And I guess it is a reality that we have to start facing with future technology and Amazon and others that are going to start delivering. But to his defense, that guy has been on this earth for like 70 years and has never seen anything like that. I don't know how you can actually throw him in jail and throw away the key on that.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I hope they don't.
That's one of those things that's like, okay, no one got hurt. Thank goodness. Let's, use this as a learning lesson. Don't shoot your guns in the air blindly. But I think he got it with one shot, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was a pretty good shot.
Must have been a ski shooter.
He said a 9mm. I think he got it in one shot. Now, that is a Florida man. If I haven't seen one before, I love it. I was about to say I love Florida men. I love the residents of Florida because we just know how to defend our property. We know how to shoot a gun. We know how to cook a steak. What's the only correct way to cook a steak, Derek? It is
reverse seared. I hope you're gonna say.
No. Temperature wise.
Oh, medium rare. Sorry.
Medium rare. Thank you. Don't say rare. No. Medium rare.
I said medium rare.
Yeah, no, I'm just hypothetically speaking to all of our listeners, our great listeners, and all the great affiliates that are airing our show across the state. We got like 1 minute. Final words, Derek. I want you to have it. Take it away.
I hope that Jersey gets down to the bottom of the drone story, and I can't wait to talk about it on Monday. I know it's going to be old news by then. Hopefully they figure it out. And I just want to say, if anyone's listening now, and if you don't have the pleasure of joining us before the holiday, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you the next time you can join us. Thanks for being here.
We'll see you next year. Well, not quite. I hope you all join us again on Monday. Drew Steele is going to be back on Monday. This was like a one and done thing for me. I don't think Drew's going to let me come back on the show. We'll see. Just kidding. I'll be filling in for him one more time at the end of this year. But Drew is back on Monday. We appreciate everyone for listening and watching. God bless. Have a great weekend.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. I had a great time filling in for Drew Steele. This is Brendan Leslie, the founder. I hope you have a great weekend and join us again this Monday, 3 o'clock.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.